Everyone. This is Dr. Shweta Prakash from Paperwhip TV, and today again we are back with our candid session. Although this is one of its kind because we are not there on Insta, and yes, this is a totally new concept where we are talking to our author via a Zoom meeting. So again, an interesting one. So before we begin with our interview, let me introduce you all to our wonderful guest. Uh, there are many things, isn't it? There are many things which are short but sweet. And so are short stories. They are so popular among people. Yes, of course, readers love to read short stories. Why? Because in a very short span of time, they are able to convey a lot. They are able to touch the chords of your heart. And today we have someone who has mastered this art of story writing. So we are here with our author, Harshita Nanda, who is an avid reader and a lover of written word. She has published two books, Xanadu, Three Souls Searching for Their Paradise, and Bits and Pieces, a collage of my Bitsian memories. So here we are with her. And yes, not to tell, I forgot to tell that her articles and short stories have been published on leading websites like She the People TV, momespresso.com, Women's Web.in. She has won many writing challenges, including one conducted by Readomania and the Himalayan Writing Retreat. She has been nominated for Orange Flower Awards by Women's Web in the year 2022 and 2023. A huge applause for you, Harshita ma'am. This is
Thank you so
truly
much.
commendable. Like, not many can attain all this, right, to the heights which you have attained in your career.
सफर लंबा है, अभी तो शुरुआत है.
अभी शुरुआत है.
I just started writing. It's just been 2 years since I started writing.
Okay.
This is the third year of my writing journey.
All right.
So I think
all
I have
right.
lots to do.
Of course, and all the best for that. Because मुझे लगता है जब कहते हैं ना आगाज ही इतना अच्छा हुआ है तो आगे की कहानी तो obviously सुनने लायक होगी.
Oh, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right. Ma'am, to begin with, सबसे पहले तो मैं ये जानना चाहूंगी कि is it something there in during your childhood days when you planned to be an author or it happened accidentally?
Being an author was never on the cards, never ever on the cards. I जैसे बच्चे होते हैं तो मतलब किसी का देखा कुछ किया तो उस हिसाब से करते हैं कि one of my uncles was an IAS, so I was like I'll become an IAS. Then that plan got dropped. Then my sister was doing her medicine, so I'm like okay, I'll do medicine. I didn't clear the entrances. So how will I do medicine? Then okay, engineering college में हो गया. I got into engineering, started working in Bangalore, and then we about 20 years back we moved to Dubai, UAE, and I'm like okay, छोटा सा break लेते हैं. और वो छोटा सा break बहुत लंबा break हो गया. I became a homemaker. So what was constant was reading. So I was always a reader. From a very small age, like 4 or 5. Once I learned how to read, in fact, it was my grandfather who taught me how to read. So once I learned how to read, then there was no stopping me reading. So I would read. Yeah. Subh, sham, raat. I would finish off a book in a day. That kind of speed I had. Even in Dubai, I joined libraries. I was a reader, but writing was never there. One off, I would have an idea and I was like, isko aise bhi kar sakte hain. But I never seriously put pen to paper. So even in my blogging, I started my blogging journey in 2015, 2016. But it was like I would write one blog, forget it. It is only in 2020, during the pandemic, when I seriously started writing. So it was a pandemic which kickstarted my writing journey.
ये मतलब मुझे कहना पड़ेगा, न जाने कितनों को इस पैंडेमिक ने राइटर बना दिया सच में,
बिल्कुल
बिकॉज
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
हाँ, शायद वो टाइम था जब हम खुद के साथ ही एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर रहे थे, खुद को ही एक्सप्लोर कर रहे थे।
Yes, the funny part is that because during the lockdown, like in UAE, you only had it for about 2 months, which was a serious
Okay.
lockdown. Actually, serious lockdown was only 1 month, but and my husband was home only for 2 months, so it was not that he was working from home. But yes, you didn't have, you didn't have your help, and the children were at home. So,
Hmm.
quite a few mothers complained that they didn't have the time. So even I, because you're doing more of household
Yeah.
work and everything, but still, maybe it was you just wanted to get your feelings out or whatever, so you were writing more, you were doom scrolling more. So
Hmm.
somehow the silver lining of doom scrolling was I found writing communities, and I'm like, okay, let me give it a try. वो
Yeah.
try, हाँ अच्छा हो गया तो
अच्छा हो
that
गया।
kind of that kind of thing. So I found a very good writing community. I joined that community. That gave me further push. I started
Hmm.
taking myself seriously, because until unless you take yourself seriously, nobody's going to take you seriously.
Yeah.
So that is
बिल्कुल।
what happened in pandemic for me. So
That's
that
great।
was the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you said that you started with the blogs. So, what are the basic topics you opt for while writing blogs?
Uh, I have only two topics. So now on my blog, I'm basically focusing on book reviews. So, like I said, I'm a reader, and
Yeah.
what I realized is people do. Earlier, when I used to write book reviews, I started off with just because I wanted to tell about a particular book. Then later, people
Mm-hmm.
came and told me, no, we actually pick up books based on your reviews. So that is when I thought, okay, this is serious. And then I realized like the community the blogging community I joined, then there I realized you can actually get paid also for it. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, it is not a bad option to do something that you actually love, and to write about the book reviews. So my personal blog is basically based on books right now. So it's on
Books.
books and book reviews. I do write one of if I'm in a blog hop or something, then maybe I will write relating to a blog hop. For Mom's Press or Women's Web is where I write my feminist writing. So if I
All
have any
right.
feminist writings, I put it on them simply because they give you a wider audience. So you
Yeah.
want a wider audience for that kind of thing. Like yesterday only, I published a post on Women's Web, which was on the minor girl who was the maid who was ill-treated in
Yeah.
Gurgaon. So so those are the topics where you instinctively write, you feel bad
Mm-hmm.
about it, and you instinctively went out, and thankfully they like those articles, so they publish those articles.
Publishes that
Because I
thing.
think,
Wow.
yeah, but my blog basically is about books.
Books. Yeah.
Yeah, books. So you'll find lots of listicles there if you want any book recommendations, or you're looking for a book review for a particular book, so that will be there.
Yeah, fine. All right.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what do you suggest? Like, if for all those women who are sitting at their home and they wish to write blogs, but they are unable to, बहुत सारे obligations होते हैं, ये कैसे लिखा जाएगा? तो क्या लगता है आपको, कैसे शुरुआत की जा सकती है?
शुरुआत तो टाइम से ही होगी, आपको अपने लिए टाइम निकालना पड़ेगा,
Time.
because that is the biggest. See, we always make excuses that I don't have time. I myself used to make the excuse, I don't have time. And this my sister had said, and this was way back in 2019, she had said, when I was
Mhm.
blogging very infrequently. And I told her, by the time I finish everything and this thing, and I'm tired and I just want to sit in front of TV. And she's like, if you want to do it, you'll take out the time. So if you want to do it, you will take off the time. I have lots of friends, who wake up at 4 in the morning because
Yeah.
they'll write at that time. There are those who will stay up late in the night because that's the only time they'll get to write. I am
Mm-hmm.
lucky. I do get the time to write. My children are almost grown up. They don't need me that much anymore. And everybody is back to the office and school anyway. So I do have that time at home. So I'm actually very lucky that way.
Yeah.
But time you will have to take out. That is the first thing. And
Interesting.
there is a saying that you can edit a badly written piece, but you cannot edit a blank page. So until unless you write, you cannot publish. You have to put the words down. And for that you need time.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Because most of the women, they find themselves occupied with like n number of tasks, right? That goes on throughout the day, right? But when it comes to finding out some me time, they are ready with excuses that yes,
We are
we
very
are tired.
conditioned. Yeah, we are very conditioned to, thinking of taking out our own time as selfishness.
Yes.
With Indians, we made our mothers into goddesses, the wives into goddesses with 10 hands doing 10 different things and everything. But the point is, and then, when you start taking time out for yourself, you'll feel guilty. Now, there are many times when I'm writing, I will not pick up my phone also. I refuse. I take that time out completely, whether I'm writing good or bad at that time. That is still my writing time.
Yeah.
And slowly, I think even my other friends have understood कि इस बजे से इतने बजे से फोन करोगे तो वो नहीं उठाएगी,
नहीं उठेगा।
that kind of thing. तो वो फोन नहीं उठेगा. That kind of thing.
But one should follow this discipline, isn't it? Like this is too
It
much
is.
required.
What happens is, because I will not say I'm a very prolific writer, or I will not say I'm a very well-known writer, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I am known in my community. I am known in, more people know me now than they knew before, I will say to that. But you talk to any writer, and that is the first thing they say. You cannot be writing well every day. There will be times when you will be absolutely stuck, but you have to stick to that routine. Because if you don't stick to that routine, then coming back to writing is very difficult. Like, of course, you have burnouts also, but still, you need to keep putting words down on paper. Good or bad, kabhi na kabhi, they will be used.
They will be used to. Yes, yes. Yeah. I totally like echo with this. But again, yeah, sticking to a strict routine is very much important. Very, very much.
Very much important. Very much
Yeah.
important. Yeah, that is
Fine.
true.
So that's it. Okay. Any kind of research work you think that has to be done before writing blogs, or what you do? Like just sit down and start pouring like out your feelings.
See, usually if you're writing creative non-fiction, if you're writing like the post I wrote about the maid that I'm telling you about, or a post I wrote earlier about the lady in Iran who was because she was not wearing a hijab, she was taken into custody, and there was so those are usually very personal posts because you are writing your feelings. But there are certain posts where you might have to do some research. Like I wrote a post on abortion bill which was passed in Texas. And so I had to do a little bit of research. How do the other countries stand on abortion bill? What are the rights the women have? So if you're writing any article which needs facts and figures, then obviously you will have to research. Okay. Even for stories, if you're writing a historical story, or if you're writing any story, there needs to be factual accuracy. Right, so you will have to make sure that it's there. So if you're writing about 1970s, you cannot be having a mobile phone. It's like basic. It's basic. You would have more cycles than cars on the road or whatever. But if you're just writing a simple story, you might not need any research or something. But if you're putting it in a time period, or if you're putting it in a it depends on the setting of the story also. Setting of the story also, whether it has to be true. Like in my book Bits and Pieces, now because it happened 25 years ago, so there were a couple of things which I wasn't sure if my memory is correct, and it's a non-fiction book. So even though if they are my memories, but my friends would be reading it, and I have to make sure that my memories is kind of matching. अगर मैं बोल रही हूँ कि Tuesday को bread पकौड़ा था, तो वो bread पकौड़ा ही होने चाहिए थे, ये नहीं कि mess में कुछ और मिल रहा था, that kind of thing. So of course I took help of my friend, a couple of my friends. Ki, is this correct? Do I remember it correctly, or was it something else kind of thing? Because we had a very close knit community. So if I'm writing something which doesn't match, then of course it is. Then how will they take me seriously as a writer?
Definitely, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
How was your family's reaction when you first like came up with this idea that up to publish karani hai book? Now I've got these set of stories and I have to go ahead with publishing.
Actually, my father, when I started blogging and I started writing short stories, then my father, first short story which I had written was the fiction short story which I had written was somewhere in Sep- October 2020. I had
Okay.
published it on Mom's Press. And he really liked that story. And he is like, ye achhi hai, why don't you write some 10, 12 and you publish it as a book?
Mm-hmm.
उस टाइम तक मेरे दिमाग में बुक का आया भी
नहीं
नहीं था,
था.
क्योंकि because till that time I was like, I cannot write fiction. I
Yeah.
can write book reviews, I can write non-fiction, creative non-fiction I can do. I cannot write fiction. Then छोड़ दिया, that kind of thing. We went ahead and so my first book, Xanadu, was
Xanadu.
actually a series of blog posts. So
Okay.
there were 26 blog posts. So in April, there is a community called Blog Chatter. I'm a part of that community, and we do a writing challenge called A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
So you can follow alphabetically, or you can just write, but you have to write 26 posts, one for each
Okay.
alphabet, kind of
Okay.
thing. And on a whim, I just registered. And I thought कुछ पूछेंगे फॉर्म में, गूगल फॉर्म था, कुछ पूछेंगे, कुछ नहीं. मैंने किया रजिस्टर और वो हो गया, ओके यू आर रजिस्टर्ड.
Wow.
And I was like, ये क्या हो गया, how will I do it? 26 posts every day of the month I have to write. I will not be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my husband, and he's like, why are you thinking small? Why are you thinking it one blog post at a time? Why don't you think big? And you write a longer story. So I said, okay, let me try. So that March, before I was supposed to publish before April, I did some prep work, and I can do it. So I can maybe break down this long story into 26 blog posts, and I did it. And then I realized I had a book. I actually had a
Oh.
novel in my hand. And that is when I realized, okay, so basically before me it was my husband and my father who
Father's
were
call.
for the
Mhm.
book. So and they even now they're pretty proud of me, and I'm proud of myself because I listened to them. I
Yeah.
was open to their suggestions.
Yes.
Because I didn't block it out, I cannot do
Mm.
this. I
Yes,
was like, okay,
because
takes.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. At that time when you're feeling low, and when you get that push, when you know there is someone there at the back end and they're constantly pestering, no, go ahead. Of course, one will find a way.
Yeah, because if you see, even now, whether somebody else reads my posts or not, these two people will read it. They will read it, they will comment on it. So,
Yeah.
you do know, okay, I have them at the back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it wasn't like out of the blue that I decided to publish, but yes, it was because of them I published.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And the best part, both, like, the most important men in a female's life, father and
Yes,
husband, both are
husband.
there to support you.
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
That's great.
Yes, yeah.
Harshita ma'am, we would love to know more about your first book. I mean, I was very much attracted by the title.
Yes. It's a very different title.
Yes.
Yes. And so Xanadu, like I said, this was a series of blog posts, A to
Yeah.
Z is what I'd written. It is not necessary that you need to follow A to Z, but I'm like, okay, let me make it interesting. So if you see the book, even the chapter names are on A to Z. They also go
Okay.
from A to Z. So they start from Alone to Bhumi to H for Harish, ये वो करके. So when I came to, so I started off on April 1st very nicely. अभी जब ये X आया, then I was like stuck. What do I do? And, because you don't have that many words there. And then suddenly this word Xanadu popped into my mind. Xanadu is actually a Chinese word, and it's
Yes.
a paradise. It's a paradise. It's a imaginary
Paradise.
paradise.
Okay.
So basically, if you want, so it's your place of peace where you would find your Zen. And I had read this word in a poem I had done way back in my grade 10, in grade 12. Kublai Khan by Samuel Coleridge. So from that, and because it was such an innovative word, it was such a different word, it was just there in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, so Xanadu is there, so let me keep X say Xanadu.
Xanadu.
So in the story, of course, it is the name of one of the protagonists' house. He names his house as Xanadu. But then when we decided to publish the book, it was like, अभी book का title क्या रखें? Blog post तो लिख लिया, उसके लिए you don't need a title. अभी book का title क्या रखें? And जिसको भी, whoever read the posts and everything, they said you need something small, you need something catchy, and you need something which stands out.
Yeah.
Then instinctively it came, because it's a journey of the three protagonists. So instinctively it came, and in their way they were all looking for peace. So became, we will keep it as Xanadu. But yes, people do find it difficult to pronounce, but it does, raise the factor, the curiosity factor. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ?
इसका
ये क्यों
meaning क्या
रखा
होता
है?
है?
ये क्यों रखा है? That kind of thing.
इवन जब मैंने पहली बार देखा तो मुझे सबसे पहले मैंने वही टाइप किया कि ये क्या वर्ड है, इसका मीनिंग क्या होता है.
Yes.
But it's very different, very different. Do you have your book in hand right now?
I do not have it in hand. If you can, I will need to get it.
That's okay. Actually, I just wanted to see the book cover also, that how does it look like. But
yeah,
I'll see. I'll search again on Google, of course. And
yeah.
even the second title, Bits and Pieces, too good. Means
Thank you
how
so much.
creatively you associated bits and pieces, where bits actually stands for, I guess it's Bits Pilani, right?
It's Bits Pilani. It's Bits Pilani. It's my college Bits Pilani. Yes.
Okay, Bits Pilani. So I was like, this was very innovative, but very, I mean, I guess authors have to put a lot of mind, lot of hard work on this thing, what to name their piece, right?
Exactly. And I am actually pretty bad at it. So I have to depend on, the generosity of my friends and family to, give me ideas. Of course, the final decision is mine. But, I remember for Xanadu especially, my husband and I, we went to a coffee shop. We sat for an hour. We literally sat for an hour, noted down all the ideas which were coming, ki kya title ho sakta hai, before we shortlisted on Xanadu. The same thing happened with Bits and Pieces. But for Bits and Pieces, the actual name, I have to give credit to the illustrator of the book, which is another friend of mine. She's another Bitsian called Girija Hariharan. She's done all the illustrations in the book, including the cover design. When I told her I'm kind of stuck with, like, whatever was coming was very, suna. So it wasn't, she's like, okay, let's keep Bits and Pieces. And the moment I heard Bits and Pieces, I'm like, yes, this is it. This is the thing. So of course I added the tagline to it, but yes, it was instinctive. Yes, we have to go with this.
Okay. So this totally revolves around your college days.
This totally revolves around my college days. This again it was again based on those 26 A to Z posts, but this is A to Z related to Bits and Pieces. Bits Pilani. So you have, क्या होता है ना कि एक particular word से आपका एक memory jog हो जाता है, that kind of thing. And Bits is a very, especially the Pilani campus, I can't talk about because the other campuses opened after I passed out. The Pilani campus was very close knit. It is just the campus. Whatever is happening is within the campus. There's no outside city. There's no outside town to go to. So those 4 years you are in a cocoon. So you talk to any Bitsian, they will say those are the best years of our life. We were totally cut off from the world, and this we're talking about the pre-internet era. So we barely had emails at that time. Landline phone होते थे, घर से STD call आ गया, receive हो गया, नहीं हुआ, that kind of thing. So it was a very simple time, but it had very profound memories.
Yeah.
So, which is why, I decided to go ahead with this, and it just touched with the Bits Pilani crowd. Definitely, there's been quite a bit of interest with the book, and even others who've read and who stayed in a hostel and read, or not stayed in a hostel and read. They also said, it just brings back all those college memories.
Yeah. Of course, one tend to associate their memories with
Memories.
whatever they are reading.
Yes, so I remember one of the reviews of the book on Amazon was like, whichever college you are, the memory, there's such similarity in the memories. Okay,
Similarities.
we might have a particular slang and they might have a particular slang, but some of the things are constant throughout in those college
Constant.
lives.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Even you must have mentioned many of your friends in that book.
No, I was very careful. I have not mentioned anybody by name because you never know
Okay.
with privacy issues right now. Uh,
Yes.
so you do not want to mention any names, but I have named a few of them using their. We had bits and nicknames, so a few
Okay.
of them were named according to that. But apart from it, I've tried to keep it so that nobody objects to me infringing on their privacy.
Yeah. पर उनमें से अगर किसी ने वो बुक पढ़ी होगी तो उनका रिएक्शन
Unka reaction, yes, they were fine with it. They were fine with it. They're pretty close friends of mine, so they were fine with it.
of
And it
course
is complimentary. Whatever has been written has been complimentary. So
yeah that
yeah,
was
so
good.
yes, yes.
That's great. That's great. All right. So, coming to your writing style, like, see, ma'am, there are many authors who go with those flowery words, that dictionary kind of language where for each and every word you have to refer a dictionary. And
Reward.
yes, some are very much comfortable with that because they find it very classy, that classy
Right.
language. What is your view regarding that?
See, certain places it suits very well. Of course, if you see, I love reading Amitav Ghosh or Vikram Seth. So those are what you would call serious writers, or Salman Rushdie. Those are what you call serious writers who are gods in their field. Their language is
Yes, gods in
beautiful
their
and
field, truly.
their vocabularies. But then I also enjoy and love Ruskin Bond and Sudha Murthy.
Sudhamurti, yes.
They're very down to earth. The language is very simple. It is what we would talk usually, what we would use usually. And but yet it's still very emotional. So if you see that the language uh, is more difficult or more lyrical in Amitav Ghosh or whatever, but it's more emotional in Ruskin Bond and
Yes.
Sudhamurti. So I think for both of them, they have their own place. It of course
Yeah.
depends on your mood. It depends on what you are in mood for reading, how comfortable you are with language. Like initially, when I read classics, when I read Thomas Hardy, I was like, I can't understand this. What nonsense is this? Such a boring book.
Yes.
But that kind of thing. But when I read it, when I was more comfortable, now when I read, and yeah, it is okay. Now I can understand the beauty of that language. So I think it's just a phase. It's just there's just a time. Like there might be a time when I'm really stressed out. I wouldn't want to read something heavy. I
Yeah.
would rather curl up with something familiar, like Ruskin Bond, because Ruskin Bond writes about the hills. I'm from Dehradun, so I love reading Ruskin Bond because it's so familiar for me. What he's writing is very familiar for me. So that kind of thing. So for me, as far as I am concerned, my writing is pretty simple. I admire people who can use big words. I really like reading their stories, but I'm a simple writer.
That's great. Even I prefer to write in simple words because that is how we are able to connect with the people, even who know the basic English. That yes, they
Right,
can read well
right.
English and yes, they are able to understand. So that connectivity which they create with that author, that comes with that simple language.
Right, sure. No, that connect is there, but वो आप बाद में सोचते हो. जब आप लिख रहे हो, आप instinctively, the words are coming out, and you realize कि this is your style, and style immediately आपको पता नहीं चलता. So it's like, when you keep writing, you realize yes, this is what my style is. I cannot write metaphorically. It is very difficult for me to write metaphorically. I will write it as it is. Metaphor किसी को दिख जाए, then it is very good. But for me, it is as it is, that kind of thing. So it is simple, easy to read. Yes, it might be too simplistic for some people, but by and large, people have told me it is emotional and it is simple, so we like it. So I think I'm happy with that.
Yeah, okay. What is the methodology which you use or incorporate while writing a story? Suppose आप कोई story लिख रहे हैं, so once you are done with the writing, like एक बार हमने लिख लिया, then what is the next step?
First of all, जब मैं लिखती हूँ, my methodology is most of the people who will be teaching writing will be telling don't do that, because I write very instinctively. So the story, see, a story needs to have a starting, middle, and an end, which
Yeah.
my stories will have.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll tell you to plot, they'll tell you to do a character graph, they'll tell you this and that. For me, nothing of that happens. I will just sit down, I will have a vague idea. Usually I'll have a starting and an ending. अभी इधर से इधर कैसे पहुंचना है, somehow I will reach. I will write it down and reach. And it happens very instinctively. So the moment because I did try to do that, I did try to follow the technique, plot it out, do a snowflake method, do this, do that. And I realized my brain just shuts down. It doesn't work for me. So the story is in my mind, I'll write it down. Now, another quirk of mine while writing is I use a paper and pen, always. I always handwrite my stories. Xanadu is handwritten, A to Z is handwritten, everything is handwritten. So once I start typing on my laptop, that is my first editing done. And then editing will happen. You have to edit, of course. There is no story which can be published without editing. After my first or 2 rounds of editing, so first editing is your basic spell check, grammar check. I'll run it through Grammarly once. I'll just do the basic check without even reading what it is saying. It's only later that I start reading it paragraph by paragraph, do the editing, see if it works as a whole. So I break it out into paragraphs, see how it works in the whole. First, just do the paragraph and then see how it reads the whole thing.
Okay.
And then make the changes. Sometimes it has happened, I've changed it completely from what I wrote earlier. Sometimes just before the submission, I might just change the end because I think it's too cliched. So there is a method to my madness, but that method depends on how the story is speaking to me. And yes, I do give it a break. So sometimes when you're I don't edit if I'm too tired. If I'm too tired, I'm liable to make more mistakes. So I just leave it overnight, do it again. Even before submission, I do try to take a day off. Though usually for the past few times, what has happened is it's like I'm submitting right at the last minute, and then then you don't really have that luxury time. So, but yes, there are certain stories which I just wrote in 1 hour, sent it to Women's Web, and they did brilliantly.
Oh.
And there are certain stories which I have spent hours and hours and hours, and they barely had any views. So that also happens. But yes, you have to pay attention to editing. That is one of the not mistakes, but I was like unaware initially. Now I pay more attention to editing also. So my earlier blog posts also, if you check, because I haven't changed it because I want to keep them as it is. My earlier blog posts do have a lot of grammatical errors, which my blog posts now are much more polished because I just want to keep that growth as a reminder for myself as a growth as a writer.
True, very true. Harshita ma'am, like it's so much of fun talking to you, and of course, talking to you feels like that. Yes, you are not someone with special kinds of something or so. You are just like us, and I would love to continue this. Actually, it's the time limit, so I'll have to end the session here. But yes, we'll rejoin to have more and to know more about your journey.
Sure, Shweta. See you.
Yeah, and thank you so much for reminding me this.
You're welcome.
And now I would love to see those 2 books again.
Yes, so this is Xanadu. This is the first book, and the cover was what the publisher had suggested. So we just went along with it so the mountains, because it's based in the mountains, and the house was called
All right.
Xanadu.
So
So that is what we wanted.
it has got chapter-wise stories, or it's just one
It is a full novella.
full
It is a
novel?
full novella.
Yeah.
It is a full
Okay.
novella. Yeah,
Fine,
it's a
fine.
full novella. Yeah, it's one long story.
Long
Lambi wali
story.
kahani.
And this is
And this is the second one. This is bits and pieces. So
vibrant colors.
yeah, so this is what my friend designed for me, and my husband helped in the formatting and everything. I'm not very tech savvy, so my husband is. So anything technical is passed on to him. So this was done by my friends because it's A to Z of Pilani. So this is the
Pilani.
clock tower of Pilani, which is the
Yeah.
icon. And you have A, B, C, D, Sara likha
All
hua, like a
that.
gems packet, because she says because it gives all the flavors. There's laughter, there's sadness, there's everything. So that is what. So it is bits and pieces, and they're beautiful illustrations about inside
Yeah,
with
they're very pretty.
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So right,
Okay, I
and
can see alphabets also at the back, and then the
yes,
expression
because
is there.
because it's about like I said, it is A to Z of
A to
Pilani.
Z.
Yeah. So like if you have this B was for B5 by choice and B
Choice.
Excel. These were the two things. So the B this thing is this. So there's a girl sitting in the
Yeah.
library and she's studying physics because B5 meant physics there, kind of thing. So she's really because which is why I asked my friend to do it, because she is a bit since she knew what I was talking about and she could
Yeah.
translate it very well. And she actually took a photo of me from my first year in college, and my caricature in the book is how I used to look
Wow.
at that time. She's gone to that level of detail in
Wow,
the
that's
thing, and
great. That's
so
great.
yeah. So so
All right.
it's a labor of love. It's a labor
Yes,
of
I
love
can
for
say
both
that.
of us. It's a labor of love for both of us.
Yeah,
So
definitely, definitely. Any
yeah.
currently projects you are working on?
Uh, I have another novella which is like kind of half finished. So
Okay.
uh, which was stuck for some time. I'm trying to push it to life again. So apart from it, I do take part in lots of blog hops and stuff, and I am right. It's not that I'm not writing, but book per se usse niklega nahi niklega, I'm not sure, because the book
Okay.
which I'm actually writing is facing a lot of speed bumps. So I don't want it to be cliched. Thode naye ideas aa nahi rahe hain, so I'm just giving it a little bit of rest. So I'm writing it in
Yeah.
between. I'm writing it in between. I did add I think about 3,000 to 4,000 words in past 10 days to that book. So
Wow.
I'm hoping I will be able to finish that book this year. I was planning to finish it last year. It hasn't happened.
It
So I'm
happened.
hoping this year it will be out.
Yeah, definitely it will
Yes,
be.
yes. Though I do have a plan. Last year, I had actually published another book, but only for a small subset of my readers.
Okay.
So only for a month I made it out as a PDF and put it for free for some time, just to check if that kind of stories would work. I did get a lot of appreciation, but I still haven't put it in the wider market on Kindle or paperback. So that is another thought which is in my mind. So I write something which are known as 100-word stories. So you have to write a whole story within 100 words.
100 words, yes.
Yes, so I write lots of them. I love writing them. And so I did make a book. So this book which I'm telling you about is had about 100 of those 100-word stories.
Oh, wow.
So yes, and that was only from 1 year. In 1 year, what I had written, I just collated all of them, and I had done it out. So I put it out only for a small set of my readers, like I said.
Okay.
So and then because bits and pieces were supposed to come out, I took it down. So I'm not very sure whether that will go up again for sale or for a wider market or not.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yes, 100-word story. Even I have tried writing for some, these online platforms. They
Yes,
give a prompt, and on
they
that
give
you
a
have
prompt and
to.
you write. Yeah,
Yes, so
yes,
most of the
yes,
time,
yes.
yes, I find my name there, but at times I feel that it's very difficult to restrict yourself in just 100 words.
It is, but you have to take it as a challenge. You can either take it as a writing challenge,
Yes.
as in just for working on your craft. like because when we are writing books, we tend to pad the scene. So 100-word story literally strips it off.
Yeah.
Because each word is important. The, and सबसे पहले तो ये words निकलते हैं, that kind of thing. So how to put across your idea in minimum number of words, how you can, touch the reader.
Yeah.
That is very good. Another, I would say, like the story which I'm telling you about, the novel that I'm stuck in, it actually started from a 100-word story.
100 story. Okay.
And I now have 20,000 words because I just expanded on that idea, So we can take it as, okay, take a 100-word story, नहीं बना, short story तो बन ही गया,
बन ही जाएगी, yeah,
बन ही
बिल्कुल,
गया. So
बिल्कुल सही
because that
कहा.
prompt will give you an idea. It might not stick to the prompt. You might not stick to the prompt. But I do like doing at least one of them a day, because it just even because it also helps with writer's block, because then your mind, if you don't have an idea of what you want to write, that will just give you that push, because like I said, once you start writing, ideas आने शुरू हो जाएंगे.
हाँ,
Your
बिल्कुल
brain
सही.
starts functioning, your brain is then trained to write like that.
Yes. And one thing which I love about you, that you are constant about reading. 4 साल से अभी तक something which you never left was reading. And I guess तभी शायद इतना कहते हैं आइडियाज का माइंड यहाँ पे बना हुआ है.
Idea का minds तो नहीं है. I just recently came from a writing slump, so I'm back to writing. So December last year was really bad, and then I finally took a conscious decision to just step back from writing.
Ooh.
Sometimes you have to do that also,
Yes.
because I was feeling very burnt out. I was feeling very, very burnt out. और writing से irritation होने लगी थी. Then I'm like, there's no point, no, अगर writing से irritation हो रही है तो. So I decided to just take, last 2 weeks of December out. जितना मेरे को submissions करना था, I finished it off. Whatever was left, I just left the submissions. I did not do any. And last 2 weeks, I just read. Just sat, I read, I focused on family, I focused on home. I didn't do anything. I just read. And I think that really helped, because by January, I was itching to write again.
Yeah.
क्या हो गया था? Because, I was like, अच्छा, अभी ये challenge आया है, अभी लिखूं कि नहीं लिखूं, that motivation was not there. But by January, I was again itching to write. I wanted to write again. So I think sometimes that break is also necessary.
Yeah.
Though routine is good, but sometimes,
Yes, sometimes
writers will know when they need that break, when they need the distance from the desk, kind of thing.
Definitely.
Yes.
So now we are here on the last segment of our interview, and this is rapid fire. Although
Okay.
this is the one I love, because बड़े छोटे छोटे questions होते हैं और बड़े मजेदार से कि भाई एक एक बार में छोटे questions और छोटे तरीके से ही वो आंसर किए जाते हैं. And basically, ma'am, ये हम इसलिए रखते हैं so that the audience, they remain bit attentive, because iske basis pe we give our team, give them a reward. But again, this is the part of our interview, so I wanted to conduct this with you. So here it goes. One thing that changed your life.
Writing.
Writing. All right. Which is your favorite role you play in a day? A wife, a mom, or a writer?
Wife.
Wife? Wow, I thought.
You thought it would be writer.
Okay, so with this answer, I can imagine the bond. I can, feel that affection between you and your husband. That's cool. That's very good. All right. Whom do you consider your idol in the writing world?
Writing world?
Yeah.
Would be author Andali Wajid.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. And what do you, अगर author ना होते या अगर writer ना होती, तो हर्षिता मैम क्या होती?
वही जो अभी भी कर रहे हैं, homemaker.
Homemaker.
I'm happy doing that only.
So sweet of you, so sweet. पता है एक और अच्छी बात, यूजुअली ना जब मैं मिलती हूँ लोगों से, और स्पेशली फीमेल्स विमेन से, और उनसे जब वो ये देखते हैं ना कि मैं जब उनसे बात कर रही हूँ, तो उनको पता है ये वर्किंग है, हाँ भाई ये काम करती है, तो उनको ना बड़ा तकलीफ होता है, या बोलना चाहिए थोड़ा सा शाई फील करती है कहने में कि वो होम मेकर है, बट आई कैन सी यू प्राउडली लाइक सेइंग दिस कि आई एम अ होम मेकर.
It has taken me quite a few years to reach this stage, but then initially जब शुरू में when I was in Dubai and I took the time to take a break, and then it became 4-5 years, I would get very defensive. I would get very, very defensive, and but over a period of time, I'm like, yeah, that's what I am. It is a role, and you are correct. I will narrate to you an incident. This happened. We have in my boys' school. There's a very interesting concept of having a parent support group. So, हर एक section से एक parent आता है. They are the ones who are dealing. So, any problem which that class का parents have, they tell it to the PSG, and the PSG tells it to the school, and we have meetings once a month. It's a very good cooperation between parents and the school, and predominantly, of course, there are mothers who are there. Men usually do not step up for such volunteering roles, and predominantly amongst those mothers also, they are mainly homemakers. And I remember the first time I went, I became one of the PSGs. I had this thing, and even though I was not a very serious blogger at that time, I did not say homemaker, I said blogger.
Okay.
But now when I think about it, I would still say homemaker. So now if you check my Insta or my LinkedIn, homemaker is written there, because I think that is a part of who I am. And that stigmatization of that homemakers needs to go, and it has to start with us. We are the first ones who need to get rid of that. सबकी लाइफ डिफिकल्ट है, होम मेकर्स की लाइफ भी डिफिकल्ट है, वर्किंग वुमेन की लाइफ भी डिफिकल्ट है, सभी की लाइफ डिफिकल्ट है. एंड इट्स जस्ट दैट हम भी काम करते हैं, हमें पैसे नहीं मिलते हैं,
बिल्कुल सही बात. But ma'am, acceptance is so difficult. मैं आपको देख रही हूँ कितनी बड़ी स्माइल के साथ ये कहना, yes, I'm home maker. तो I know कितना battle इसके पीछे होगा.
It has been. You get very defensive, and you get defensive because you've not accepted it. Because you know कि you are professionally qualified, you know that people who were with you are at very good ranks. I have friends who are CTOs, CEOs. आप क्या हैं? आप homemaker हैं. So that somewhere or the other the world runs on money, and how much you earn makes a lot of difference. So I wouldn't say and not so there are lots of there's lots of battle in your mind. So, and somewhere or the other you have to accept. And once you accept, you're happy with it.
Yes, you are happy with
and if you're not happy with it, you change the role. Nobody's stopping you.
Yes. So true. All right, another one. If you are given a day to spend in your own way, how would that be?
Oh, I would again do the way stuff I'm doing right now. I would read, I would write, hang out with my family, maybe go out with friends, zyada se zyada. So, touchwood, I do think I'm very privileged, to have a life like this.
Yeah. Because there are many who want to spend time with their family, with their friends, but they aren't able to.
They're not able to do
They
it.
are
Yes.
not able to. Yes. All right. Your favorite movie?
I have lots. एक कैसे चुनेंगे? But yes, on top of my mind, Notting Hill, Forrest Gump, Veer Zara.
Veer Zara, yes.
So yes, I'm a romantic comedy person, so
wow.
I love romantic comedies.
That I can sense, your favorite role as a wife, I can sense that.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay. Two books which you think everyone must read once in their life.
Again, bookworm ko bolo 2 books is very difficult, but I would still, okay, if I have to pick, I would pick Ken Follett's Fall of Giants series. So this is historical fiction of 20th century.
All right.
So it goes from World War I to the Cold War, to World War II to Cold War. So I think it is I would want people to read so that they don't make the mistakes what happened in history.
All right.
And of course, Pride and Prejudice. I think everybody should read Pride and Prejudice
Yeah,
by Jane
Pride and
Austen.
Prejudice, definitely. ये तो
I
है
think
ही,
everybody
बिल्कुल
should read
पढ़ने
that.
लायक।
I
वो
think
है।
everybody should read that.
Yeah. All right. So apart from this, if you were given a role to play in a movie, which role it would have been?
Oh, this is very difficult. Oh,
Or
it's
Hindi
actually
movie,
very
huh? To
difficult.
be very specific.
Hindi movie. I have no idea. I don't, though I have done dramatics in school, I don't think I'll be able to play anybody's role. I'll be more of a director. Ye karo, wo karo.
Such a honest man, such a honest man. And that's it. And bus jate jate, फटाफट से कुछ, some good words of wisdom from your side to the budding writers.
There is no words of wisdom. There is no, in the sense, it's just plain common sense. You work hard, you will get the rewards. All you have to do is work hard and be consistent.
Yeah.
Your consistency matters. एकदम से expect करना कि आप bestseller हो जाएंगे, I think that is a bit too much. But good work never goes unrewarded. I will actually, if I can take a little bit more time, I will narrate one thing. If you know, Gitanjali Shri won the International Booker last year. So I have attended 2 of her talks recently, and one of them was in Sharjah, and she told her there is no shortcut to success. She's like, this is not my first book. I have written books earlier. I have written books which are received better earlier. But this book won because this book has won an award, which is why I'm getting this recognition. And that book took her about 8 to 9 years to write.
My goodness.
And we have to remember, it is not Ret Samadhi which won the award, but it is Tomb of Sand. Yes, Ret Samadhi is the original book, but it is only after it was translated by Daisy Rockwell that it won the award. And she's like, it is not the first translation, because it has already been translated into a very good translation, exists in French.
Yeah.
That was translated before the English one. So she's like, it's just that, the stars aligned at that time, that she got the recognition that she deserved. But we're listening to her, I was like, yes, we expect, yes, there are success stories. There are, कि पहली बार में ही hit हो गया, 5 point someone लिख दी, 5 point someone लिख दी, वो hit हो गई. But then can you follow up that 5 point someone with books like that? Can you still sustain that? It all depends on how much hard work you're putting. There are lots of books which languish, and then suddenly, they become, after a period of time, that author becomes a hit or the books become a hit. But good books, if you've done a good work, if you've done an honest work, it will always sustain. So, which is what I think, like with Xanadu and bits and pieces, I think that honesty shines through and that is what I'm most grateful about.
Yeah, and that is that one thing I loved about you, that honesty and dedication. वो कहते हैं ना,
Thank you so
बहुत
much.
बहुत सिंपल से रह के कि हाँ हम ऐसे ही हैं, नथिंग आर्टिफिशियल, कुछ ऐसा स्पेशल नहीं कर रहे हैं.
Yes, there's no filter. There's no
No
filter.
filter. Yes, no filter.
There's no filter. There's no filter on the mouth also. There's no filter on face also.
Yeah. बस वही ना, जैसे हैं हम ऐसे ही हैं. And yes, that one thing, we are consistent and constantly walking on our path.
Yes, that is true.
It was
That
so
is needed.
wonderful talking to you. So wonderful. And
thank you so much, Shweta. And thank you, Paperwave, for reaching out to me.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sparing time. That too in such a difficult situation. The way
No,
we were stuck and cooperating with us. Thank you so much, Harshita ma'am. Thank you so much.
no problem. No problem whatsoever. Pleasure was all mine.
Thank you.